In the first of 3 presentations by Revel staff, Don Kalisz, a partner at the Western Michigan Marketing and Graphic Communication Agency, talks about the anatomy of a brand. Don, who gained a degree in graphic communication from Western Michigan University and has a number of AAF Addy Awards at the district, regional and national levels, gives an insight into Revel and its culture and an overview of the agency's approach to developing a strong brand. Sponsored by the Baker College of Muskegon, Adobe User Group and Rotaract Club.
Hi everyone, I'm Don Kalisz, as Mike has mentioned, and I'm one of the partners at Revel. Revel's a marketing agency located in downtown Muskegon and also in Grand Rapids. And we like to, we help our clients to tell their story. And we challenge them to think a little differently about how they might look at their marketing and communication in the past. We do this by getting to know their business, getting to know their target audiences, and then spending a lot of time with our team brainstorming and thinking up the cool ideas that will help them hopefully stand apart in their marketplace. You know, some of our products include anything from consulting, market research, brand development, websites, billboards, media campaigns, video, and the list goes on. Shortly saying anything that our clients need in communication, we can help with. So I thought I'd begin by talking about our brand a little bit before we get into the presentation. You know, Revel, when we started Revel, we intentionally didn't name our business based on the services and products we offer, because there's no way to stand apart from our competition that way. Instead, we wanted to focus on the feeling we want them to have, the result that we want them to have when they're working with us. And for us, it boiled down to them being happy and really being excited to work with us. And after a lot of brainstorming and coming up with words with our team, we came up with Revel. And what does Revel mean? You know, Revel is being excited, being and being happy, and not in kind of a cool way. You know, being happy in a cool way to where it's fist pumps and high fives. You know, we want our clients to really enjoy working with us. We have about 20 people on staff, ranging from graphic designers, developers. We have a video producer, traffic managers, and account managers, and we have a complete team all working under one roof, which makes doing the job very easy. So this experience, this feeling of revelry, carries over into our culture. It's very important for us to have a strong culture with our office and with our teams. Our office is a very open environment. We have loft ceilings, cool colored walls, we have a keg of unruly beer on tap all the time. We have an arcade machine with about 15,000 games on it, literally. I think I have top score of Burger Time right now. We have a disco ball even. So it's a very, very fun environment, and that's important to us because we want that culture to be felt by our teams, and then not only our teams but our clients as well. So let's get into the anatomy of a brand. What makes up a good brand? I'm going to start by walking through a couple of examples. So we're going to go through a few slides here and some brands I grabbed off the internet. So when you see a brand that you kind of relate to or connect to, maybe clap a little bit or give a shout out or something like that, okay? How about this one? Apple, everybody likes Apple, good. NFL, the NFL fans in the house, good. Even the Lions are doing well, can't beat that. Nike, long-standing brand. How about this one? Motorcycles, good. So the reason you're applauding isn't because of the logo design, right? Necessarily. I mean, sure, that represents the organization's brand. But no offense to any graphic designers in the room, but the logo design really is a very, very small part of the brand. It's so much more than a logo. No one really gets excited for a logo, right? I mean, you're not applauding for that logo. You're applauding for that connection you have with that brand. If you look at these logos on the screen, there are several of them that you can critique and say good or bad logos. That's all subjective, but you really buy their burgers or use their electronics because of their brand, right? And so it's that connection they have to you personally as an individual, as a consumer. So a brand is a belief. It's a feeling. It's a gut, non-spoken feeling that you have and that they connect with, and that's why you support brands, almost regardless of price or product, really. I'll always have Apple products, I will. And so Revel's brand hopefully has that same feeling for our clients. So a brand is also, it's not just visual. A lot of people think of the logo or the billboards, that kind of thing, the website. But a brand is in my opinion, just as important to have a non-visual side to it. It's developing that plan and the story behind what that brand means and what that connection is. What are those values that you want to hit with your target audience? And that's certainly not a visual thing. Obviously, the visual is the tangible result of that, but they have to work together. A brand is internal first. It's not external first. It's external second. So internally, you have to build a strong brand with your teams that are going to live that brand and support it. I could put a great brand out there for Baker College and say how great it is, and you guys come here and somehow you're not happy, and the staff here don't support that brand in some way, then that's a big deal. And you'll notice that as a consumer, and that's why it's important to focus internally and get your internal teams living and supporting and believing in that, the truth behind that brand, and that will overflow out into the communities. So how do you build a strong brand? It starts with a story. It's all, I said before, we like to tell stories for our clients, and that's really what we do. So we help them to, that story helps them to differentiate in their market. A good story is developed by listening. You listen to your internal employees, and you listen to your target audience. You have to have both. Your team will tell you, your audience will tell you. They'll tell you what they want from your industry, from your brand. They'll tell you what you're doing right, what you could improve on. They'll tell you what your competitors are doing. You'll get some really great information just by listening. And most of the brand will be handed to you. Once you listen, you'll truly understand what your target audience wants. You'll understand their values and their beliefs as individuals, as people. It has nothing to do with marketing or what your brand is. It's really focusing on those that you want to connect and influence, their personal beliefs as human beings. And then once you have those values and beliefs understood, you build your business around that. And that's a brand. That's a great brand that way. And I focus on them intentionally because it's not about the business. Your brand is about going out to where the consumer is in the marketplace and where they're listening and building a bridge all the way back to your business. And they'll come back over and over again if you do that right. A wise guy named Ray Kinsella once heard a whisper in his ear that said, "If you build it, they will come." You guys are probably too young to know that reference, but the Field of Dreams. And it's very, very true. A strong brand, you'll have staff, you'll have employees that want to work for you and that stick around through thick and thin because of that culture, because of that internal brand. And then, of course, your target audience will come back time and time again as well because of that brand. So what's the secret sauce? How do we build that brand? Well, at Revel, we like to say it's not what, it's why. It's not what you do. We didn't build Revel's brand based on and name it based on what services we offer. We built it on why the client should care. Why we all get up in the morning earlier every day to go to work. It's the why, not the what. There's a gentleman named Simon Sinek who came up with the idea of the golden circle. That's what you're seeing here. And his philosophy is starting with why and working your way out. Conventional logic of marketing focuses on what? It focuses on the product or service that the organization offers. So for example, they might say, a computer company might say, "Hey, we have computers, they're on sale, they're wonderful. Here's what they do and here's what they look like." But they're focusing on what? And they're focusing on that product. And therefore, they're competing more and more with the other ads that are out there for other computers. So how do you cut through? You start with why, and you work your way out. So what are the products and services? How are the things that make them special or set them apart from the competition? And why is the purpose? It's the belief. It's that very reason the organization exists. So an example we'll use is Apple, because I love me some Apple. That's just the way I am. Apple, they do it the right way. They start with why, and that's why they own the market. Their products aren't always better. They're way more expensive, but we all buy them, no matter what. I don't care what an iPhone 6 costs. I will have one. Not yet, but I will. And because they really connected with my personal beliefs as an individual. I, along with Apple, believe in challenging the status quo and doing things differently in life. That's just the way I am. So therefore, I don't care what they're selling, I'm buying. Because they hooked me with this why statement initially. Their products are beautifully designed and easy to use. And by the way, we make great computers. You want one? I mean, that's a really great, compelling selling argument. And that's why Apple is so successful because they follow this start with why philosophy. So Revel's branding process, we talked about starting with why and the importance of people supporting beliefs. They don't support logos. They don't support the products even that you offer. They're supporting that belief that you're connecting with. So once we have that established, we do a lot of research. We do online surveys and focus groups to really deep dive and get to know the staff and the target audiences that we're trying to influence. And there's quite a bit of writing that you can expect in this industry as well. A lot of writing, so really hone those skills. Team and individual concepting is a big deal. And being unique is not easy. You can't always teach that. My first graphic design class, we were given the assignment to hand draw a logo using our initials, and we couldn't use the computer. So I spent 5 hours on this thing, colored pencils and shading, and I can draw really well. So I really put my heart and soul into this thing. So I brought it back to class the next day, and the instructor grabs everyone's homework and kind of stacks them all up, and he rips them in half. He throws them in the garbage. And he looks at all of us and says, never stop with your first idea. And that's something I'll take with me the rest of my life. We do a lot of team reviews, teamwork, and internal reviews and client meetings. A lot of interaction with clients. Computer design, of course, and production and brand management is some of the side of the brand of the non-visual side of the brand, making sure the brand's integrity holds true over the years. You kind of have to monitor that and watch it. So here's a real example of a recent brand that we did for the Muskegon County Airport. They hadn't changed their brand or their look for over a decade before coming to Revel. So we did some research. We talked to the people that, like you, that everyone flies, right? And what we found out was that the top two things, no surprise, that people care about when choosing a flight are price and schedule. Okay? The top two things that we found that were the top two negatives of Muskegon County Airport were price and schedule. All right? And then guess what the two things are that they cannot control? Price and schedule. Thank you. Isn't that, how do you work with that, right? So the airlines set the price and schedule, and they just have to deal with it. So we branded around the experience instead of the price or schedule because they cannot compete with that. They are sometimes cheaper, actually, believe it or not. So their goal is to say, we're not going to compete. We're not going to try to be Grand Rapids Airport or a big airport. We're a small airport, and that's good. That's a good thing. You have this experience that's easier. And sometimes we'll be the cheapest price. At least check us out. That's kind of their goal. So we had some fun with this. Of course, security's faster. You're in Muskegon. Come on, it's a small airport. There's no line. It was great. And people in this campaign resulted in about a 50%, 56% uptick on flights, on ridership. Because and I'd love to think it's because of the marketing, but it's we could take some credit, but not certainly all of it. But it was a big help, and we still to this day do their marketing. It's a little different look now, but this one was a good example. So there's some basic brand elements that we like to kind of insist on. The company name and logo is important. A brand promise, so kind of outlining that why belief that your organization has. And then coming up with a cool tagline to kind of embody that. Nike's is just do it. Apple's is think different. They don't say anything about their product. It's talking about that why, that belief, that connection. An elevator pitch is key. Having all the staff say the same thing about the business is very, very important. Communication plan, of course, a website, obviously, and developing the look and feel of all other communication tactics is part of a good brand. Ultimately, we like to say your brand is what people say when you're not around. All of you here have a brand, like it or not. When you're not around, people will talk about you, right? Same with business. Your brand is what they say when you're not around. So make sure you're telling them what to say. It's very, very important. Thank you.